concerned, guys, we'll talk about a little bit about all the pieces of real world asset tokenization. But if you have a real world asset tokenization project that you want to kind of discuss, hit me up at INEX. We have, the whole package. And that is why, I want to speak to you guys about that in a second. What exactly does that mean? But, you need the legal side for RWA tokenization, and INX is fully registered with US securities laws. So we got you covered over there. The technology side, the tokenization engines, secondary market. So if you have a business you want to tokenize, my DMs are open on multiple channels. You send me a Telegram, a Slack, an email, a pigeon, and we'll get back to you. So Alex, I want to kind of break it down. You're building your own layer one, uh, based on, I think it's based on Tezos, right? But you have all these components. You talk about a vertically integrated layer one. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about these components and generalize from your experience and your use case to how these each component is important in the tokenization space as a whole.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so the Mavryk Layer 1 blockchain, it's a, technically speaking, is a modified fork of the Tezos blockchain. And, we chose that for several different reasons. One of them being it's been robust. I think security and decentralization is one of the most paramount things when it comes to tokenizing RWAs. There are few core chains that have proven this over time. There's a difference between the hype of a chain, its price, and its robustness as a blockchain itself and decentralization. Secondly, being our experience, just years of experience with it, and C, we use a programming language called Lego, which is a functional computer language, which essentially allows us to sort of like, it's like formal verification, so you can like test code before you deploy it, and that element allows you to have more secure smart contracts. If before this run up in the market several months ago, we were at a point where there were more funds stolen on EVM chains than there was locked in liquidity in TVL. So when it comes to RWAs, security and robustness is paramount. Every time we speak to somebody from the traditional side of the world, they tell us like, okay, well, how do you stop hacks? I saw this happen on Ethereum. I saw this happen on that chain. How do you stop that? And well, for starters, we use a more robust code base. And so what we're building with the Mavryk Layer 1 is a vertically integrated ecosystem that I like to call it a digital commonwealth, where there's the blockchain itself, there's a protocol treasury that's on chain, there's a treasury council that is elected by the validators of the blockchain. We've got a liquidity mining smart contract that validators can incentivize liquidity and assets on the chain directly on chain. Everything we're building is non-custodial, on chain, and accountable and open source. So everything that basically happened with Celsius, everything that happened with FTX is simply not possible with everything that we're building. So I could dive into it, David, if you've got any questions about it, but there's so many different elements. When it comes to the vertical integration of RWAs, we've got a business development team that's onboarding portfolios of assets and helping those. We joint venture with asset managers who want to onboard portfolios on chain and help them do so, because right now there's a big gap between people who know how to build and then people who know how to sell. And so if you look at everything that's been tokenized on chain, for a lot of funds, but then there's nothing to do with it. There's not that much real estate. Realty's got about 100 million, they've broken the ice there. That's amazing. There's Lofty, who's more set up a process for tokenizing your own property. So they've tokenized about 30 million. But if you look at like the question of why haven't STOs taken off, right? RWAs are just STOs repackaged, hopefully with a more mature industry. And why didn't they take off? It's like, okay, you've tokenized this. Now what? What do we do with this asset now that it's digital? And no one's built an ecosystem of assets that are composable with one another. So you have, let's just take Ethereum, for example. When you have a decentralized blockchain, you essentially have, it's like Linux. You have the ability to do anything, but since it's so open, you essentially can't do anything because the pieces don't work together. So what we're doing is creating a more curated experience where we help asset issuers onboard and onto our chain. We help them integrate with decentralized finance products. We built our own RWA token standard that A, complies with securities laws, and B, can work seamlessly in DeFi so the users all feel like it's permissionless. So on Mavryk, you'll be able to actually go buy an RWA off of DEX and then also then deposit it into what we call Maven Finance and borrow against it. And that could take less than 30 seconds, theoretically speaking. Probably take you like 5 minutes, but still that takes away like 90 days worth of time in a traditional case.